Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be on a whole bunch of new QUO goodies. They recently launched, I think it's 50 new brushes that are all vegan, cruelty-free because they're completely synthetic hairs. And I wanted to show you not only some of the new brushes, but as well as their most recent summer collection, of which I have a few products here. So I thought I'd do a full face try on of the brushes and the summer collection and just talk you through it. So for those who are unfamiliar with QUO, it is a Canadian brand that is sold only at Shoppers Drug Mart because it is their home brand, which means that you can only get it in Canada. You can only buy it in stores at Shoppers Drug Mart, retail locations, or online on their website. But their website does not ship outside of Canada, unfortunately. I've already applied my eyeshadow primers, and I'm going to start off with my eyes by going with the two eyeshadow palettes that they've launched for the summer. This one here, the blue one, is called Cotton Candy, and then the more peachy tone one is called Popping Peach. Both of these do actually come with a little brush on the inside, a double-ended one, but I'm going to stick with their newer brushes, which do seem to be a little bit higher quality. These would actually be decent for fine detail work, specifically with glitter is what I'm thinking, but I'm not going to use them on my eyes today. I'm going to start with the Popping Peach color and put that on my upper lid, and then I'm going to move on and put the blue one on my lower lash line. Now for brushes, I'm going to be kind of picking and choosing because I've got a lot to choose from. QUO does sell a whole bunch of singular brushes, which is great for the eyes because sometimes you need one brush and not a whole set of them. So there's a lot of singular ones, but they do also make them in packs as well. So this one is the Smoke Show brush set, which is kind of neat because you've got like your crease blending brush, you've got one that's bigger for packing, another flat shader brush, and then this one's kind of interesting. It looked like it'd be good for like gel liner. And they've also got some other ones with red tops as well. So there is plenty to choose from in the eyeshadow area for brushes, which makes me really happy because those are the brushes that get me the most excited. So to start this off, I'm going to go in with the Pointed Crease Blender. It's a little bit smaller than I normally use, but I want to give it a shot. And I'm going to take that really bright peach shade from the Popping Peach palette. And that's just going to go directly in my crease. I am finding this to be a little bit sheer, but this more denser brush is making it a lot stronger, which is what I like. For my lid, I'm going to be taking this kind of pale peach shade, and I'm going in with the Crease Diffuser brush. And I'm just packing that on. This is a bit fluffier than I'm used to, so I don't feel like it's as strong of a color. Let me try something that's a bit denser. So this one is the Angled Lip Brush. But it feels like the right consistency for the eye, so that's what I'm going to try using it with. This is a little bit stronger. Yeah, that's definitely stronger over here than it is here. I'm not sure if the ring light is washing it out, but this flat shader one for the lip is definitely better at applying this color. For the inner corner, I'm going to stick with the same brush and use this pale bone champagne color just to brighten up the area. And by the way, just to reiterate, just because this is labeled a lip brush does not mean that I have to use it that way. I often interchange what brush type I'm using and use it for my own purposes. For the outer corner of my eye, I'm going to take the darkest shade in the palette, which is honestly quite pale in my opinion, and I'm going to be using the Tapered Shadow Brush. This one has a red top, and I'm just going to put that on the outer corner, just because I like something deeper in that area. It is not massively deeper though. To highlight my brow bone, I'm going to be using the All Over Shadow Brush and back in with that bone colored shade. Ooh, I really like using this kind of brush for this area. I've been using an angled shadow brush for what feels like ages, probably since I was 15 for this area, and I don't really know why. I like this one a lot though. Okay, for my lower lash line, I'm going to switch over to the Cotton Candy palette, and I'm going to put the purple on the inner half of my lower lash line, and then I'm going to use the dark color on the outer half. For the lower lash line, I'm going to use the Shadow Detailer brush because it's a little bit more precise, which is what I want on my lower lash line. So because the look was so pale, I started to put on a black wing liner, and then I realized that I should be using this little, what are you even called? Pointed liner brush out, because I think it looks really interesting. But I don't have any kind of gel liner from QUO, so I'm going to be using my Suva Beauty Tracksuit UV Hydra FX Body Art Liner, and I think that's going to go with the look. And hopefully that will cover up the black no problem. Oh yeah, that was easy to cover. Alright, to finish up the eyes, I'm going to be using a mascara by QUO that is completely new to me. This is the all-in-one mascara. And it is, oh nice, it's a conical brush, but it is very large. I do like them a little bit smaller. Is that brown? That looks like a brown mascara. Yeah, it is brown. I was not expecting that. So this is a conical wand with plastic bristles. I can't remember the last time I've used a brown mascara, if I ever even have. Let me know if you use a brown mascara. My mom has always used like navy blue, and she tried to push me in that direction when I first started wearing makeup because she thought black was too harsh, but I always loved the drama of black mascara. Okay, first impression of this is that it's a very dry formula, which is not in my taste. I like a very wet formula. It's my own fault for not realizing it, but had I realized that this was a brown mascara, I would not have applied a blue liner, I don't think. Okay, moving on to the rest of the face, I'm gonna get to try out a bunch of their face brushes. Now these are kind of interesting because they come like this with a little protective cap at the top that you can either keep on or take off. I will probably take them all off eventually. But it's just nice because it protects the brush from any damage that might be in the store. So that is quite nice. And they're all like that. I've got some big powder brushes here that are the same idea. And they expand quite largely once you take them out. And it is so soft. So what's going to be interesting about this is that I'm going to apply my foundation with a brush. I haven't done this in quite a while because I've been on the sponge train, as have most people, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So I'm using the HD foundation brush, and I'm gonna use some of my old staples, which are the Boots No7 Instant Radiance foundation. And we're gonna see how this goes. My biggest problem with foundation brushes was always that it left streaks on my face, which is why I just switched over to sponges, because I feel like it leaves that very nice buffed edge without it looking like you dragged a brush down your face. But actually, I'm not seeing any brush marks here, which is fairly impressive. I just got, okay, it's matching okay. I just got back from a week-long vacation at a cottage, so I picked up a lot of sun damage, basically, and I'm a little bit deeper than I normally would be. So I had to go up a few shades in foundation. But this seems to be matching my neck okay. I'm really impressed. I can't believe I'm not seeing brush strokes. I tried so many brushes in the past to apply foundation, and every time it just looked terrible. And it's not shedding either, which was another problem I used to have. Now, this is a bit of a sheer foundation, by the way, so it's not like it's going to be covering everything up on my face. I don't see brush marks. Wow. Even that well-loved Real Techniques Expert Face Brush that everybody raves about for foundation didn't work for me. Did not work for me at all. Okay, with my foundation in place, I'm going to go in with blush and bronzer, and I'm going to be using this palette from the QUO Summer Collection, and this one is called Berry Beam. First going to go in with bronzer, and I'm going to use their massive powder brush. Yeah, it's called Ultimate Powder, and I usually use a much smaller brush for my bronzer, but I tend to see a lot of people putting their bronzer on with large brushes, so I just want to give it a shot and see if it does anything different for me. So let's see how this goes. Okay, initial reaction is that it's a little bit floppy, so I'm holding it further down on the bristles. That may just be because I'm not used to using a huge brush for bronzer. Okay, let's just try it how everybody else does. I like the application. It's weird to get used to a different kind of brush for bronzer though. And for blush, I'm using the contour brush with the more peachy color over here. Oh, that color is pretty. I always feel like QUO does such, why am I double applying it? That is heavy. I always feel like QUO does really lovely face products for powders, like blushes and highlighters. They're always really lovely. All right, for my highlighter, I'm gonna be using my absolute favorite product, hands down, by QUO. It's their Highlight and Glow palette. Now, I have the one that they launched for holidays 2018, but they have repackaged this and brought it out as a permanent product, and I am so happy because this thing is phenomenal. Not only do you have your basic highlighter shades, I would say like a more bronze shade down here and then like a white gold, but you're also getting a ton of fun colors, which is the best part of this palette. So you've got like a peachy shimmer up here, this one that's got more of a lavender peach edge, this is like a blue icy shade. They're so much fun to play with, and I'm so glad that it's a permanent product. So for the look that I'm wearing, I think I'm just gonna stick with this kind of peachy color up here, and I am using the liquid multitasker, even though it's not going in liquid, but I like the shape of this for highlighter. So let's give this a shot. I am so glad that they've made this a permanent product. When I found out that it was just for the holidays, I was so distraught. I was like, why? This is the best thing that you've ever put out, and now it's limited edition, but now it's permanent. Okay, so the last thing we have to do for finishing my face before we finish up with lipstick is to do my brows. And I'm a little bit nervous about this because this product is different than ones that I am used to. So QUO has come out with 4 different colors of this brow product that they're calling the Tri-Tip Microblading Pen. And I originally thought that this would just be a straight pen similar to like a liquid liner, but I should have known better because it does say tri-tip on it, and they literally do mean that there is a 3-prong tip to it. So if I show this to you up close, you can see that there is like a triple tip, but there's a deep scoop on one side and a shallower scoop on the other. So I guess the idea is that you can draw 3 hairs in one with this. So for colors, there is a warm blonde at the top, there is a cool brown there, a warm brown, and then a deep ash. Normally you would think the blonde would work, but I'm worried about it being too pale, but I'm gonna start with that one as a base. I don't have much brow hair to begin with, so I really don't know where to start because I'm so used to doing pencils, but let's just try drawing it on. That's showing. Okay, oh, that is super pale. I don't even think you can see that. Okay, these are a lot paler than I was expecting. I thought they would be closer to like, I don't know, a liquid liner, really? But I've swatched them out on my arm so you can take a look at them and see just how pale they are. So I've got the blonde one at the top, which is almost not visible at all, and then the ash colors at the bottom with the browns being in the middle. I actually think that the ash is going to be the only one that really shows up on me, so I'm gonna try going in with that one and see what happens. Oh yeah, that one shows up a lot better. What if I can... Okay, fundamentally, I just don't think that these are for anybody who has to basically create most of their brow from scratch, which is what I have to do, because I'm just not getting enough payoff. And it says to shake well, which I have done, but I'm just not getting enough out of this. Okay, this is not working for me. I'm gonna fill this in with my regular pencil and be right back. Unfortunately, that brow product is leaving some kind of residue in my brows, which is so strange because it didn't seem like it was putting much on in the first place. But now I'm dragging specks of that stuff through my brows, and it's not looking the best. Okay, lastly for lips, I've got a set here. This is the Transforming Lip Kit in Bright to Light Raspberry. I'm not really sure this color palette is gonna work for what I've got going on, but we're gonna give it a shot. Can make it work. So this one is the brightening one, and this is the cream lip stain. So let's see how this looks. Oh, that smells so good. The color is really nice too. This applies really smoothly. Okay, so that's the raspberry shade on its own. That's a really nice color. This isn't necessarily a look that I would pair together, especially all of these colors kind of jumbled together, but this is beautiful. It smells nice, it applies lovely, and it does dry down. I can feel it drying down to like that liquid lipstick matte formula. I really like that color. Now let's see what happens when we add the strobe top coat. I'm guessing this is more of a gloss. Ooh. Kind of like a duochrome color. This one does not smell as nice. It's certainly more hydrating with the strobe top coat on top, but I think I prefer the color of just the matte lipstick on its own. All right, now that I have everything on my face, let's run through the products and I'll just give my final thoughts on them. We'll start with the stuff that I didn't love. And I have to say the number one product that I just felt was pretty bad in this whole try-on was the Eyebrow Tri-Tip Microblading Pen. I just don't feel like there's enough pigment in these to really show up on even my eyebrows, which is kind of concerning because I'm quite blonde, and although I do my eyebrows darker than my hair just so that they show up, like I don't feel this warm blonde would work on anybody at all. The medium browns had a little bit of color in them, but I feel like they're really for somebody who already has a lot of eyebrow, and which is not me at all. I barely have any eyebrow and I have to draw most of it on. So I don't feel like it provides enough pigment to actually show up, which is why I had to go in with another brow product just because I wasn't getting any kind of brow that I wanted. The one that probably looked the best on me was this, what shade are you? Deep Ash. This was the darkest color that they make, and it did show up the best on me, but I did feel like the tip was drying out awfully fast even when I was shaking it repeatedly, and then it started to gunk up my eyebrows a little bit too, and there's like little bits of, it actually feels really tacky right now. So it's putting all kinds of product in your brow, but it's not really showing much up. So these are a big miss for me. The other product that I really didn't feel worked that well for me, but it might for somebody else, would be these two eyeshadow palettes. I wear very vibrant, very bright eyeshadow, and I like a lot of pigment in my eyeshadows. These are very subtle, which for me means that I won't be getting any use out of them just because I want something brighter and darker and deeper. And these are just sort of that mid-tone color that add a little bit of a pop, but they're quite sheer, and for me that's just not really something that I'm looking for. And the other item that I didn't necessarily feel worked out that well for me would be the all-in-one mascara by QUO. A large reason it's not working out for me though is because it is brown, and I just don't reach for brown mascara. I like something that's a lot more dramatic, so I will always go for the darkest black I can potentially find. So for me, in that respect, it kind of falls short of what I'm looking for. But the other reason is that it's quite a dry mascara, and I like mine really wet. So for that reason, I would just never gravitate towards a dry mascara. But if you're somebody who does and you like conical wands with plastic bristle brushes, this might be one for you. Moving on to the things I did enjoy, I have to talk about the brushes. There is so many to choose from, and that makes me so excited. I love when I can look at a brush range and there's a plethora of eye brushes to use, because not everybody is looking for the same shape, and because they've got such a wide variety of them, I think it's great. I do think that Smoke Shadow set is really good because you are getting 3 sort of packing and blending brushes, as well as that liner brush, which I used for my wing today. I do feel like this brush is a little bit larger than I'm used to, but I still really enjoy the wing that I got out of this, and I felt like it was really good with that Suva Beauty Hydra FX liner. So I'm gonna enjoy using this with all of my cake and cream liners. I also really enjoyed this pointed crease blender because I feel like it really put the color on in a concentrated area through my crease. As for the other ones I enjoyed, I really liked this shadow detailer brush for my lower lash line. It could really get in there and smoke it out, which was great. And then I really enjoyed, I think it's the all over eyeshadow brush for blending out my brow bone color. Again, I've always used an angled brush there, a fluffy angled brush, but I've never really known why I've done that, and I found that this worked a lot better for me. Moving on to the larger brushes that I use, this massive powder brush is very floppy. You can see it like wiggles around quite a bit. I don't think this was the smartest move for applying bronzer. I think my bronzer looks fine, but I'd probably use something a little bit stiffer in the future. This would be better for applying all over face powder for sure. The contour blush brush, really enjoyed this for applying blush. I think I put it on quite softly, although it did pack it on initially quite strong and I was like, ooh, but it did blend it out quite well. So I really liked this one. But my favorite brush that I tried today is hands down this HD foundation brush, which is so surprising because I thought this was going to be awful. I've never had a good experience with foundation brushes. So I basically thought that this was gonna be like all the other ones and it would just apply my foundation in streaks and look patchy and horrible. I was totally wrong. This is excellent. My foundation is applied as if I had used a beauty blender or any kind of like Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. This is fantastic. I don't know why this one is so different other than the shape is different than what I would normally see for a foundation brush. It's kind of like angled backwards and it gets fatter as it goes up. I don't know. This thing is fantastic and it's the #1 brush out of all the ones that I tried today that I would recommend to you. As for the face palette, I did really enjoy the blush here, but I felt like the bronzer, I don't know, wasn't necessarily the right tone for me. I love the color of the blush because that's that kind of like peachy coral color that I always go for. But the bronzer was just, I don't know, maybe a little bit too cool tone for me. Wasn't in love with that half of the compact, but again, the blush was excellent. As for the lip duo, I did really enjoy the cream lip stain, although I feel like it went on like a creamy lip product, but it started to dry down really fast, like a normal dry liquid lipstick. The color is beautiful. I love the scent on this. The one I wasn't as in love with though is the strobe top coat. It's funny to me that this smells so different from this one. This one smells incredible, and then this one just smells like a makeup product, like not necessarily an old makeup product, but just makeup-y. So didn't really love the gloss, although it is hanging on to my lips quite well. I just don't tend to wear a lot of shiny, glossy lip colors, but if you do, you'd enjoy this. But for me, the real winner in this duo was the cream lip stain. And then the other thing I've already mentioned loving intensely is this Highlight and Glow palette. Again, this is the one from the holidays, but there is a more current version out right now that is a permanent product, and this thing is just fantastic. I use these highlighters frequently in my day-to-day life when I'm going to work, when I'm going out at night, and I think they're incredible. The colors are fun to use, the application is beautiful, and this is my favorite product that QUO makes, hands down. The last product I have to talk about is not something that I used in this video, but I have been using it regularly, and it is part of QUO's recent launches, so I have to talk about it because it is so good. It's their Waterless Brush Cleanser. This is fantastic for cleaning off your brushes if you need to switch between colors when you're doing your makeup and you don't have time to go do a full clean of that brush. What you do is you spray this onto the brush, so the brush gets quite damp. You swipe the brush on like a Kleenex or a piece of paper towel, get all of the color out. The brush will dry within 30 seconds, I would say, if it's a synthetic brush, and more up to like a minute if it's like a real hair brush. And then you can go back into a different eyeshadow color and the brush is perfect. Like there's no extra color on it. It is dried down completely and the brush behaves as if it were a freshly cleaned brush. This stuff is fantastic and I will always have this stuff on hand going forward. I think it's phenomenal, and I think I did just mention in my recent July favorite, so it is a true standout product for QUO. Alright, so that was my try on and summary of some of QUO's latest launches. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!